what are the patterns that happened in the past that can tell me about the future? There's a lot of benefit that people can get from predictive analytics.
So Jamie, you're the CTO at Predixion Software. Tell us a little bit about the company, what it does, and what problem you're after.
So Prediction Software has been about a year now. It's a great company. I co-founded the company with Stuart Frost and Simon Arkell. And we're really about self-service predictive analytics in the cloud.
Okay.
So the idea here is that, I've been working at this for a long time. As you know, I was previously at Microsoft for about 10 years. And really got into the predictive analytics aspect of what I did there and built that facility out inside Microsoft. But as I worked with customers and saw how people were doing things and saw how people were using BI and people were using different aspects of SQL Server, I saw there was this missing space where there's a lot of benefit that people can get from predictive analytics if it's presented to them in the right way.
And so there's a big buzzword, just predictive analytics, but often I'm not sure that we explain to people what the difference is between pure business intelligence and prediction. Do you want to give us your perspective on that?
Sure. Well, BI is really, it's retrospective. It's extremely valuable to have very fast queries, very interesting visualizations of your data, and be able to see how these things happened in the past, but it's very retrospective. It doesn't tell you what's going to happen next. It's really just a backwards look at your data. It's in the end, you can kind of summarize BI as very fast, organized querying.
Okay.
Whereas predictive analytics is completely different. It's not fast querying. It's coming up with new information from the old information. What are the patterns that happened in the past that can tell me about the future? And how can I act on those things?
As I think about the problem is inside an organization, do I have to architect differently, or are there things that BI gives me that help me predict better?
Well, that's a good question, because the answer is yes and no. And the difference between yes and no is what we're trying to solve.
Okay. So tell me more about how prediction software works.
So the difference is in BI is looking at aggregations of data, and it's really looking at the major kind of trends in data, and you group things together because you can't see all the details. Whereas predictive analytics is looking at all the details and finding the patterns in those details.
And an area that's pretty hot right now is healthcare, and I know you're working with Practice Fusion information, and you also have quite a few organizations working with you that are healthcare organizations.
Yep.
What are you working out on there, and then what are you finding out?
So what's interesting with healthcare is it's an interesting group to work with, or kind of a niche to work in, because there's a lot of special needs that they have. But if you look at a healthcare company, they are an industry in themselves, and they have every problem that you can imagine. Every BI problem, every predictive problem. There's customer churn problems, there's insurance fraud problems, there's disease prevention, there's how do we optimize our business to get the customers to stay in our system versus go out of our system. Every problem you can imagine exists inside healthcare, so it's kind of a microcosm of the rest of the world. And if we solve the problems there, we can solve any problem. And the Practice Fusion data is a great example for us, because great use case for us as a software vendor even, because it's so hard to find clean data that we can even show a demonstration with. And actually having Practice Fusion data actually lets us build micro solutions, which is a microcosm of the healthcare problem, in our software, where we can actually go out and show to our customers, say, look at what we're doing here, look at what we do with data, and if you put your data in here and merge it with the Practice Fusion data, or have your own proprietary data, these are the kind of problems you can solve.
So on the Practice Fusion data, there's a show on that, and almost 8 million records there, so make sure you take a look at that show. Tell me, in the way you're using Practice Fusion data, explain to us how your technology is different from anything that's out there.
Okay, so with the Practice Fusion data, the way that we're handling it is, if you take the Practice Fusion data and download it and use it, you can do kind of basic reporting on it. I can see this happened this many times, these medications were prescribed this many times for these diseases, and so on and so forth, and kind of general reporting, get a lot of information out of that. But by using prediction, I can show you, for example, what were the other diseases that were related to this disease, or what medications were prescribed to these other medications, so I can actually make better decisions about what I'm doing as a medical practice. And with prediction, the way our software works and the way you put solutions together with prediction, it makes it very easier for the end user, the physician, to take that information and actually use it in their practice every day, rather than having to rely simply on their memory or simply on kind of reading and research. They can have a tool at their fingertips that relies on the usage patterns and the research that everybody else had done, brings that together and allows them to make a predictive model which can tell them this kind of relationship style information.
That's really what's quite powerful, is not only are you able to bring the Practice Fusion data, if you needed other data, you can do that as well. And this is all done inside Excel, because your product is an extension outside of Excel. And then you run the modeling and then predict specific scenarios that could happen. Where do people go if they want to find out more about your company?
They go to our website. It's predictionsoftware.com with an X.
And you have a set of events as well going on?
We have a monthly webinar. I think it's the second Tuesday of every month. And we do have a set of events that are available on our webpage.
That's great. Thank you very much for your time, Jamie. Until next time, I'm Bruno Aziza.